So I got a lot of requests to redo a video I did the other day in the morning, and I put some thought into it so I could reiterate it. It just flows out of me naturally, guys. And the topic was right to travel. Travel can be perceived, presumed, and assumed to be a number of different things, so I enjoy the unalienable right to locomotion in today's modern day conveyances, okay? And the right to locomotion from point A to point B cannot be disturbed for any reason, rhyme or otherwise. But it's a right, again, that you have to understand that you have. And it doesn't require insurance. It doesn't require a driver's license. It doesn't require any of that hoopla. And so what I was going into was talking about how you hold these agents and agency accountable for their actions. But it's really not the agents and agencies that I'm holding accountable at this point. It's the man who is causing harm by way of trespass, by way of extortion, by way of coercion, by trying to force me into a contract. You know, on the side of the road, they always want license, registration, proof of insurance, right? Well, that's what they're trained to do when they're engaging somebody who is clearly engaged in commerce. But there are times when I'm engaged in commerce, and then there are times when I'm not. There are times when statutes, codes, city ordinances apply, and then again, there are times where statutes, codes, city ordinances do not apply. And we have to look at the Constitution. The Constitution is very clear. There are the enumerated amendments, and then there are the unenumerated, right? So your right to urinate, defecate, masturbate, freedom of speech, all that other stuff. Your right to breathe, your right to bear offspring. Nowhere is any of that written anywhere that you have a right to do it. But yet, you know in your heart that you have a right to do so, right? You have a right to procreate. It's not written anywhere, but you do have that right. So it's about ascending of the mind and comprehending what that actually is. It's an unalienable right that cannot be impeded upon, but only if you know how to stand upon sound principles and your unalienable rights. I've got a lot of people that tell me, well, I have a right to travel and I'm using these private plates, and I'm going, okay, what did you do to ensure that you wouldn't be bothered and accosted by agents and agency? What were the steps you took? Well, I just ordered it online. I just put it on my plate. You're going to go to jail. I'm being so nice about it. You're going to go to jail. And for anybody that stands up for their rights, know this. Freedom isn't free. Standing up for your rights, you will absolutely go to jail because we're under military occupation. And we have been since Abe Lincoln. And I don't think people really fundamentally understand what a soft martial law is. We are in a time of soft martial law, what I would perceive it to be as a soft martial law. Whereas they still have the simulation of legal process before they kick in your door. But then again, they don't really need that either. If you have a doorbell, a door knocker, an address on the front of your house, and a doormat, those are all welcoming invitations to foreigners on the land to kick in your door, help themselves to your fridge, and do whatever the hell they rightfully want. Is it right? No. Can you bring action against them? Absolutely. Can an officer of the law do anything wrong to you? The answer to that is no. And the reason an officer, a state trooper, a cop can't do anything wrong to you is because an officer, state trooper, or cop are titles, okay? They're titles. The state trooper did nothing to me. The uniform did nothing to me. The badge did nothing to me, or for me, quite frankly. I know there's some people out there that are mystified by a badge. I opened Cracker Jack boxes as a kid. Nothing in there mystified me either. It's all symbols and shapes and colors, but it's insignificant. So the badge they wear is no more real than the Cracker Jack toy you get out of the Cracker Jack box. So what do I mean by that? Well, pulling me over absent a crime, or I'll give them this one too. If I actually have something on the private consumer household good, otherwise identified as an automobile, not motor vehicle, that is faulty, like a light, I don't mind being stopped and, hey, you got a light out, just, worried about your safety. Now, you and we understand and comprehend that the officer has no obligation in his duty to protect me. So that's a bunch of horse shit. Or protect the people. That's a bunch of horse shit. His job is to protect the public trust and to generate revenue for his principal that gets thrown into the public trust after they fleece good, hard-working American people. Period. That's his job. And for them to say anything otherwise is complete hoopla. Now, do men and women who sometimes act as officers of the law help people? Yes, they do. But what they're failing to realize on the opposite side of that spectrum is what the lawyers are actually doing. Because even when they're helping people, there's still an opportunity for these lawyers, district attorneys, to bring charges against people. Now, it's very clear. Supreme Court has said an officer has no obligation to help anybody in distress or time of need. 2, and we learned that not only with the Florida case, but there were a number of Supreme Court cases that have upheld that. And it's absolutely factual. They're foreign agents. They have no allegiance to we the people of the United States of America. And I say the United States of America because the de jure government still exists. It's just a place where nobody hangs out. Nobody lives. Everybody lives in fairy tale land. For a lot of people that follow me, they go, oh, Derrick, you kind of live in a fairy tale world. You don't believe you need any of this stuff. No, I have the knowledge that says I don't need any of this stuff. I have the testicle fortitude to stand up for what is right, just, fair, with dignity, honor, and respect. So, back to traveling with these false and fictitious plates that everybody's ordering on the internet. You will go to jail. You will get pulled over for that. And here's why. One, when you... I'll let this guy go by. When you finally make a conscious decision and you are ready to travel in such a manner, it would be very responsible for you to execute a letter to the head of the DMV and also the head of the DOT in the state that the agents and agency operate in. Why? Because all men, and when I say men in this instance, I'm talking about men and women, all men and gentlemen give notice of their arrival. All right? So all we're doing, because it tells you in the Bible, we must forgive those who trespass against us, for they know not what they do. Why do they know not what they do? Because we did not communicate who we are, what our intent is, and what we're doing. All right? I know everybody says, well, if you're free, you shouldn't have to write to anybody. You should just be able to do whatever you're going to do. I'm helping you build your damn case so you can get paid, ladies and gentlemen. If you'll listen to what I'm telling you, it will help you out tremendously. Now, for example, in the state of Nebraska, there's a lady by the name of LaRonda L. Lamb. Okay, she is the head of the DMV in the state of Nebraska. She has also sold my private, pertinent information to agents and agencies such as police department, state patrol, sheriff's departments, and all, 89 counties in Nebraska? Okay, they took my private information, didn't tell me what they were going to do with it, and then they sold it to Interpol. They sold it to all these other corporations so they could make money off of it. Okay, credits on account. While they're accessing my account through the Social Security identifier, through the estate, and the birth certificate, which is a bond, and then consequently enough, the driver's license actually has a series of numbers on it. Have you ever wondered why the driver's license actually can swipe just like a credit card? Because that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. All they need is that number, and they can do business, baby. They could charge up your estate, because the original application in itself has been transformed into a security, a negotiable instrument that has value, ladies and gentlemen. And then that identifying number on that piece of plastic is just like a credit card. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. So, How do we prevent ourselves from going to jail when traveling in our private household consumer good that doesn't have to be registered, doesn't have to be insured, and it's not engaged in commerce? We give them notice. We give them notice. It's real simple. So I, a man, Derrick Gonzalez, am requiring you to answer my inquiry, yes or no, and sign off on it. Do I, as a man, have to have a license to travel, to exercise my right of locomotion in my private household consumer good from point A to point B? Yes or no? Her answer will always be no, right? It's always no. So now I've got a letter from the DMV, state of Nebraska, right? That says from the director, who is now liable, right? Dear LaRonda L. Lamb, who sometimes acts as DMV director, am I required as a man to register my private household consumer goods? Yes or no? She's going to say no. Then I say, okay, dear LaRonda L. Lamb, who sometimes acts as DMV, I'm going to send a series of letters because I like being pen pals with these people. All I'm doing is creating evidence. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn around and I'm going to record it on a miscellaneous filing. I'm going to record it. It's really, really, really simple. Very simple. Now I've got all the evidence, and it's on public record that LaRonda Lamb has stated in a letter that I'm not required to register my private household consumer goods automobiles, period. End of discussion there, because what's the first thing they want to get you for? An unregistered, unlicensed automobile. Well, so happens LaRonda Lamb is the one that you seem to be arguing with and in a tiff with, and she doesn't agree. So where are you getting your directive from? Oh, the legislator. No, the legislator says you can violate my rights. He doesn't say that it's highly ill-advised. He just says you can. You can do those things. And then, of course, when the cop gets hammered by a guy like me, first thing he wants to do is bitch about the legislator. Well, the legislator told us we could do this. They sure did. And you know what? A little toddler can stick a pair of tweezers into an outlet, too. Is it advised? No. Can they do it? Absolutely. Is it going to hurt like hell? Possibly. Could it kill them? Maybe. You know, it's the gamble they take. It's Russian roulette, essentially. Everybody they stop on the highway, they don't know if they're articulate, intelligent, and know what the hell they're doing or not. So the gamble, the juice is worth the squeeze, because 90% of the American people are absolutely dumbfounded when they get stopped, believe they're guilty of doing something wrong. But let me help you even further. The Supreme Court has ruled that a state cannot be an injured party. Why? Because the state is nothing more than the figment of the man's imagination, period, point blank and simple. All right? Very, very, very simple, logical, reasonable explanations to all this. And the fact of the matter is, it's our ignorance that has imprisoned us. And it's sad, because I see a lot of brilliant people, or a lot of people I used to think that were just extraordinarily brilliant, who really just read and regurgitate the shit they have, absolutely having zero comprehension of what freedom is. Not liberty. Liberty is permission to leave the ship. Liberty is permission to do a thing, period. A license is issued to do a thing that otherwise would be illegal, ladies and gentlemen. Are you listening to what I'm telling you? A license is issued to grant you permission to do something that otherwise would be illegal. Illegal. All right? We're not talking about lawful. Illegal. So think about that little piece of plastic. Here comes another spectrum, another way of looking at this. Birth certificate, driver's license, social security card, pilot's license, CDL are all property of the estate. They are not mine. They are not mine. So when they're asking for these things, well, under the Fourth Amendment, I have the right to be secure in my property, persons. Well, what the fuck do you think a driver's license is? It's a person. What do you think a social security card is? It's a person. What do you think your birth certificate is? It's a fucking person, ladies and gentlemen. And every last one of them had a master application with a wet ink signature on it that was monetized as a security without informing you. Your mother, upon your birth, B-I-R-T-H, not B-E-R-T-H, which is the birth of a ship versus the natural born man, being crowned from the vagina. So the doctors say, oh, he's crowning. Yes, another king is being brought into the world, or another queen. All right? It's just so interesting. The more learned I become and the more that I'm able to facilitate the mindset of what freedom really is. It's brilliant. So, all of those things under the Fourth Amendment are absolutely restricted from the government encroaching upon. See, the Constitution is a trust indenture. It's a trust document. The intent of the grantors was to ensure that we, the people, as grantee, had absolute protection from egregious encroachment on our right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So it really should be life, property, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what it really should read, property. And in the Fourth Amendment, it does state property. You have the right to be secure in your property, persons, papers, and effects. Which means, absent a crime, an injured party, a man or woman, bringing forward a claim under the sworn pains and penalties of perjury, with an affidavit in tote, with 2 or more verifiable witnesses, with the same damn story, attached to a warrant, you absolutely have zero reason to engage me. Now, when the lights come on behind you, this is another thing I want to point out. Only the governor in the state of confusion is what we'll call it, instead of using all 50 states. We'll just call it the state of confusion. In the state of confusion, the only ones allowed to declare an emergency are the 50 governors of the state of whatever. All right? So when that officer turns on his lights behind you, that agent and agency, that man who sometimes acts as an officer just committed a crime. He just accosted you against your will, violating your unalienable right to locomotion in modern-day conveyances from point A to point B, absent a victim. That's a crime. You just became a victim to a tyrant, a jackboot thug, in his ship, in his vessel, okay? His motor vehicle, because he's engaged in commerce. He's absolutely engaged in commerce. When they come up to you, what you should be asking them for is their license, registration, and proof of insurance. Are you being paid right now? I am. So there's no reason for you to be hostile this evening, is there not? Right? You're making a source of income, if you will? Well, yeah, okay, great. And I'm not being hostile. I'm an ambassador of peace. So there is no reason at any point in time during my investigation, because now this is my investigation, ladies and gentlemen. You bet your sweet ass I'm going to investigate the shit out of them. All right? So there's no time that you at any point should be aggressive, should be threatening, right? Because you're getting paid and I'm the one that's being victimized here. I'm the one being held against and accosted against my will, absent a victim, absent an actual crime, absent probable suspicion, which I tear probable suspicion out the fucking window all day long. I don't give a shit what you think. This thought policing shit's got to go, all right? Unless there's an APB put out on the private consumer automobile that I'm in and it resembles something that some kid's been stolen in, stop me. Have a look. I'm more than happy to facilitate you in that manner. You bet your sweet ass I am, because these child stealing, lying, looting, pandering, thieving fucking chimos all need a bullet in their ass. That's what stops fucking pedophilia. A bullet to the fucking head. It's over. It's done. And we should have been doing that for a long time. These politicians, these preachers, these fathers and priest-like fucking figures all need to be lynched or shot in the fucking head for abusing our future. Because those offspring are our future, all right? So they're the most valuable thing that we have. And they're the most precious gift from the almighty heavenly creator. So we really need to move to protect them. But back to it. How do we protect them if we ourselves aren't cognitive enough to stand up on sound principles and stand upon our unalienable rights? If we don't do it, nobody else is going to. The only reason we are where we are today is because people got comfortable. It's a word I absolutely frickin' have come to despise on a cellular level. It's okay, Derrick. I'm comfortable. Comfortable means you've accepted being a slave. You've gotten far enough in life to be comfortable. Comfortable is a dangerous word, ladies and gentlemen. You're comfortable with your slavery. You're comfortable wearing a mask. You're comfortable doing what Papa government tells you to do. Or that weird old white Uncle Sam figure, the figment of your imagination, right? Tells you to do. In retrospect, if you're a voter, it only means you're not competent enough to handle your own affairs. Point blank and simple. We are in the 21st century. I can order shit from China all day long. If I don't get my shipment from China, do you think I'm going to bring a suit against them? No, it's international type shit. If I wanted to go into commercial law and bring a suit and an action, sure. Maybe the government would be beneficial, but let's be realistic here. Let's be realistic about what the government has actually helped people do. Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. There's nothing the government has ever done for Peter that he didn't have to rob Paul for first. Secondly, the CIA has been bringing cocaine, heroin, and guns and drugs into the United States of America for decades. The FBI, the DEA, the ATF, they all have black ops, underground ways of generating revenue. They're either out there enticing people to buy drugs, they're bringing drugs into the country. These people don't give a shit about you. You know, when you think about Nixon creating the war on drug, all he did was increase the price of drugs on the street. So what? The CIA could make a shit ton of money really quick and fund their wars, their secret private wars in other countries. They're their own government for all intents and purposes. The CIA is as dirty as the FBI. The FBI every bit as dirty as the CIA. Ain't none of them got clean hands. None of them. Not a fucking one agency. Not an agency in this country has clean hands. They're all foreign, unregistered, rogue agents working on behalf of England to steal from us on behalf of the bankers. Period. End of story. So back to traveling. Right of locomotion. Point A to point B. As long as you haven't harmed anybody, everything they're doing to you is molesting you. Raping you of your unalienable rights. The sad thing is, I can see it in a lot of judges' eyes when I speak in courtrooms. You can see they don't want their grandkids growing up with real chains on their neck. They realize that their grandkids might not be so favored in society as far as being a judge, a lawyer, a cop, or any of those positions, and they realize that when they're not at the helm, and they're not calling the shots. Like Tammy Shint's dad, who's a local judge in the area, got a DUI. I believe his name is Art. Magically, the paperwork just disappeared. There was a technicality, and we lost the evidence to prosecute dear old Art. Wasn't that convenient for Tammy Shint, who's a judge for the lower county court, that her papa just happened to magically find a clerical error in paperwork that just seemed to disappear. Shouldn't we all be so fortunate, right? What else did I talk about in that last video that everybody was wanting to know? Yes. So the cop lights behind you, that's declaring an emergency when there is no emergency. So my first question, of course, is there an emergency? No, there's not. I'd be more than happy to help you if there is an emergency. In good conscience, good faith, and with full understanding that if you need assistance, you need me to cover your six, let me grab my AR-10 out of the back. I got you. Better yet, there's a burning house and you need an extra hand, or maybe you need to render CPR and you just don't have the upper body strength to do compressions and breath at the same time. I'd be more than happy to help you. Is there something that I can help you with? Is there an emergency, being that you declared an emergency, that you need my assistance? No? Okay, great. Now I'm showing intent, ladies and gentlemen. I'm moving into the intent part so I can bring my claim against the man who sometimes acts as an officer, who's also going to give me a false and fictitious name on the side of the road, that an unregistered DBA doing business as, okay, which is also a crime under Title 18, but I'm not going to come after him under Title 18. You know whose job that is for the Title 18 violations? That's the damn prosecutor's job. But I've already been told by the prosecutor, we're not going to prosecute the sheriffs. We're not going to prosecute the police department. We're not going to prosecute our corrupt agents and agency that work for the city boards, county boards. Our job is to protect them. She made the biggest mistake by telling me that. I couldn't believe those words came out of her mouth. I exonerated myself looking at 10 years, ladies and gentlemen, in prison for allegedly assault on an officer, resisting arrest, resisting a lawful order, concealed firearm, yada, yada, yada. I mean, the charges went on and on and on and on and on. But when I exonerated myself, one of the things that came to my mind immediately was, if I'm not guilty of a crime, then you equally and oppositely say that the others are guilty of a crime, right? And she just kind of looked at me, and I go, you're going to prosecute the sheriff, right? You're going to prosecute the deputy, right? You're going to prosecute the chief of police, right? You're going to prosecute the agents and agency that accosted me against my will and violated my substantial rights and unalienable rights and made legal determinations on the side of the road and prevented me from speaking to a magistrate that instant because I had done nothing wrong, right? You're going to prosecute them, yes? Derrick, no, my job is to protect them. So there is no such thing as justice in your business unless you're unjustly enriching yourself and fleecing others at the behest of the public policy, right? These are things that got me on this road. This is what led me down this path. And then I realized that I have a little one, and I'll be damned if anything should ever come her way through an agent and agency. I'll never let that happen. I'll bury them. I'll bury them all. Because I'm not here to play games. Freedom isn't free. But when I say bury, I don't mean physical. I learned through this process there are things far worse than death. Way worse. And that is losing everything that you ever thought you owned. Everything you thought you owned, because technically you own nothing. So as you start to realize these things, as you start to ascend to the mind, you start to realize how you can hold them personally accountable. And that's the ticket. I have watched people's court cases disappear when a claim against a man who sometimes acts as a prosecutor, and then he goes, oh shit, I don't want that in court. Poof, abracadabra, it's gone. Well, they think by just making it gone that no crime occurred. Bullshit. Just because a man steals something and then decides in good conscience to bring it back doesn't mean that he still didn't steal or wasn't engaged in theft. The lawful terminology for it is theft, not robbery. Robbery being legal definition and theft being lawful. So just because he has a change of heart and brings it back doesn't mean that he still didn't act in theft and his intent was to, in fact, take something that didn't belong to him. There's still a claim that can be brought there, right? So just because the prosecutor makes a case disappear doesn't mean that you can't come after him or that he didn't commit a crime, that he didn't use a false and fictitious name to drag you into a court under threat, duress, and coercion, that he didn't try and access your estate and fleece your estate for unjust enrichment to help himself. You know what I mean? Oh, here we go. Somebody's racing down the road. Maybe we'll get lucky and it'll be a cop. Oh, he's hauling ass. Ooh. Here we go. Let's see who it is. Ah, not our lucky day. Anyway, I'm just waiting. One of these days I'm going to win the lottery and I'm actually going to get pulled over and you're going to see me on Facebook Live and I am going to be going, yes! I've been waiting. Phil Collins might come on. Anyway, long story short, make notices. Notice your governor. Wait a minute. Let me rephrase that. I'll redact that last statement. Notice the governor. Notice the attorney general. Notice the DMV. Notice the DOT. Put them on fucking notice. Because after you put them on notice, ladies and gentlemen, ignorance of the law excuses no one. No one. When you can prove that you mailed out certain letters to them, inquiries that by their own public policy they're required to answer, by law they're required to answer, by their oath they're duty bound to answer, when they have knowledge of a said material fact, or they have knowledge of a subject matter, and you inquire whether or not you can do a said thing, which sounds redundant and ridiculous, and they don't respond, that's failure to respond when they have a duty and obligation to do so. So we want to know what their rights, titles, duties, and obligations are. Rights, titles, duties, and obligations, please. You get pulled over by an officer of the alleged law, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a federal court of law or my court of law. You have a right to an attorney, but I know he's not going to be able to help you, and you're going to spend tens of thousands of dollars fighting me. And not only that, but within 90 days, I'm going to have it wrapped up so damn tight. Ain't nothing going to free you from the grips that I have with the knowledge I now possess. So, you know, I just need to know, are we going to part ways peacefully, amicably, and sensibly tonight, or am I going to own your home? Is your wife going to leave you? Is your cat going to shit on your floor? Is your goldfish going to die? And are your kids going to hate you for the rest of their lives? Because I'm going to take your 401k. I'll take your house. I'll take that shitty ass lawnmower you got in your garage. I'm going to take that chicken you bought at the county fair. I'm going to take it all. Because you're not independently bonded like you're supposed to be, which means that I have full access to all the assets you think you frickin' own. I have it all. I got the whole world in my hand, right? So for you guys out there squawking about being scared about going to jail, that's just part of this process. It's almost like a rite of passage. It really is, because they're going to test you. They're going to test you, and as soon as they realize you got a little salt in your Peter, they're going to tone it down a whole lot with you. It doesn't mean that once you learn this stuff, you become a pompous, arrogant prick and go out and do things that hurts people, or because you understand contract, you screw people over all the time. I've seen some people that have gained this knowledge that aren't very good people, and it's kind of disheartening because they spend a lot of time learning this, and now they turn around and they screw people over all the time using contract. And they know that these people that they're screwing over aren't intelligent enough to defend themselves and are far too they're paupers. They don't have any wherewithal to talk to a lawyer that would put up a fight against him. So he constantly is taking their automobiles, taking buildings, outbuildings, things like of that nature, because he has the knowledge to trick people. He's no better than a fucking lawyer. So be careful who you teach this stuff to. Notice an opportunity. That's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. Notice your sheriff. That would be exercising my unalienable right. Supreme Court's ruled on it numerous times that exercising your unalienable rights is not a jailable offense. It's not a jailable offense. It's not a ticketable offense. There's nothing they can do to you if you know how to stand on it, if you know how to hold your own court. Because I'll tell you right now, and the alleged judiciary, which is no longer a judiciary, it's just a private for-profit corporation. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Havokin, State of Nebraska Supreme Court Justice, has a DUNS number that is directly tied to DHHS. All the lower courts end up selling their court cases like chocolate-covered turds, the securities, to the Nebraska State Court Administrator, who bundles them up and puts them on the New York Stock Exchange, all right? That's how all this shit works. It's all securities. Everything is a fucking security. And it took me a long time to figure it out. This banking thing is an interesting deal. I still don't have it all figured out, but I'm pretty freaking close. Pretty freaking close. Name decree. Extremely important, but only in the federal courts. The name decree on the lower level, these people don't know what it's about. They don't know what you're doing. You know, you need to have a will when you go in to do your name decree. And then you want your rights, titles, interest, dividends, derivatives, debentures, hediments, chattels, securities, trust res. You want it all. And if you didn't catch that, go back and watch this over again and write it down. Go research what I'm talking about. All right? In order to have a crime, you have to have corpus delicti, mens rea, malleum in se, or malleum prohibitum. Go look those words up. Go check it out. In order to have a contract, the contract must be written in English, or at least the same language. And the legal system, the legal society, you will find that they use a menagerie of language from other countries, compiled with ASL, compiled with English. So it's a void contract in a fucking nicio because it doesn't even make sense. You would have to have a bilingual linguistics, sign language expert to even contrive a message in the documents that they bring forward to you. There's nothing there. And I know what people say, oh, I can read it. Good. If you can read it, you must be a U.S. citizen. You must be very, 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 very articulate and talented. And you deserve everything that's about to be handed to you. If you honestly read those documents and you can actually read them, you're special. You need a Doppler Dawn helmet with a special short bus pass so you can jump on and get railroaded in court. I don't represent myself ever. I am who I am, for I am, because I am. So says I. There's no need to represent a damn thing. I am the beneficiary of this resulting trust or constructive trust contrived on the side of the road where an agent and agency generated a security, failed to notify the IRS, which is tax evasion, not tax avoidance, tax evasion, and then they transferred 3 or 4 more times before I ended up in this courtroom. And I just want to know who's got that security and is going to bring it forward to balance these books today. For I am the beneficiary. And if you can't bring that out in the public, well, then let's just say I completely comprehend why you can't. Show a cause why this shouldn't be ex parte and sealed effective immediately, and this be handled in front of a chancellor in chambers. Because I'm due rights, titles, interest, dividends, debentures, derivatives, and all I want is this whole account settled. General tangibles and general intangibles. The general intangibles are the value. The general tangible would be the paper. The general intangible would be all the securities in the electronic world that you just don't see being monetized. So, what else is there to cover? I got 15% battery left. Your right to travel. Right to travel. That word is a sticky word just because the inference. There's a lot of meanings that come behind travel. All right? But your right to locomotion in the modern day conveyances is absolutely a fundamental right to travel from point A to point B, so long as you harm no one. No one else has a right to stop you. And damn sure not an agency that's not registered with the Foreign Registration Act of 1938, doesn't have a Foreign Registration Act certificate. Their corporation does not have a corporate charter. They're not registered with the Secretary of State and don't have a letter of good standing. It's just, I could go, they're not independently bonded. What else? What else could I go on? There's just so much I could go on about rogue agents and agency. Being derelict in their duty, violating the public trust, a breach of their fiduciary duty, breach of their oath of office, breach of the public trust, breach of public policy. I mean, I could just go on and on and on and on. When an agency actually pulls you over on the side of the road, absent a victim, absent a crime, and commits about 10 felonies in a matter of 2.5 seconds. 2.5 seconds, he's created 10 fucking felony charges already. But it's a matter of whether or not you know what rights that he's violated. If you know the rights, all you need is his name, his physical mailing address, or a buddy that's got really big balls that doesn't mind serving him at his house or at his job. Serve him. Start the process. Hold your court. Your court is held on the 4 corners of paper, ladies and gentlemen. And it starts out a little something like this. I, a man, was caused harm by way of trespass by a man by the name of, who sometimes acts as a state trooper or deputy sheriff. And this is the evidence that I have. And the evidence would be the ticket. The ticket's a great piece of evidence. It's great. Use their own shit against them. So fucking simple. If you have video evidence, you include that as well. And then you send them a bill. And then after 10 days of their non-response, you send them a nice letter saying, is it your intent not to pay a bill due and owing? A true bill due and owing that's been sent to you? And then you can go on with your holding your court on the 4 corners of the paper and turn around and finalize that deal with a summary judgment. And then a writ of execution. And bam, have the U.S. Marshal go pick up your shit, liquidate his estate, liquidate his 401k, liquidate his bank accounts, take it all from them. You watch how quickly they'll change their tune around you when they realize you know what the hell you're doing. I've got a recent court recording that would blow you guys' minds, and I just might, release it to people. I haven't done it yet. I've been thinking about it for a minute. That don't work with black people. I'll throw that horse shit out the fucking window. We all bleed red. Don't matter. Black, yellow, blue, pink, Gumby. I don't give a flying fuck what fucking color you think you are. Color is the color of fucking man. It is not the man. Your man is exhibited by your spirit, your tenacity, the lust for freedom. All right? The whole black thing doesn't fucking fly with me. I'm Hispanic. Do you think I give a shit about that? And I'm not even Hispanic. It's what I've been fucking called. I open carry tactical defense tools all the time. AK-47s, AR-15s, AR fucking 10s. I get pulled over. Nobody shoots me. Right? You don't know what it's like. I understand that there are certain parts of the country that have been decimated through an economic system that have caused hardships. Yes, I completely know what it's like. I get it. But stop being the victim. Stop being the victim and get fucking educated. It ain't fucking hard. And I know I'm being harsh on you because I'm tired of this color race shit. That's what they use to divide us. Stop placating to their bullshit. Ascend to the fucking mind. It's not hard. Man, I've been ridiculed, prosecuted to the fullest by a lot of people, man. And it has nothing to do with skin. It has everything to do with my attitude. I put up with nothing from no one for any reason. And you gotta have that mentality. Yes, gun-toting morons exist. Will one day I be shot? Perhaps. But you know what? I carry myself with dignity, honor, and respect. I record these people, and I serve them at their house while they're eating morning breakfast. And their daughter's sitting there trying to finish her homework for school. And they get this is for you. You've been served. And they open it up and they go, fuck, what's this? Oh, this is something a lawyer will never help you get out of. They can't play in my world because they can't play in reality. They can only play in legal land. What I do is real. What they do is falsify information, falsify fucking records, get you to agree through consent. Everybody that's in jail is in jail literally because they consented. And when I heard that, I was in prison. I was like, oh, that's bullshit. I don't want to be here. I didn't ask to be here. I fought like hell. And there I was, still in prison, in a 6x4 cell in solitary confinement, which they call segregation because, well, it's politically correct. Not new paint on the walls, not new doors, not new windows, not new building, they didn't expand the room, still 6x4 cell, same fucking doors, same paint, same boogers and shit, fecal matter on the walls. They just changed the name, segregation, because, well, it just politically sounds correct, because solitary confinement is, well, of course, Derrick, inhumane. So throw the color shit out. It don't work. Ascend to the mind and fight your battle responsibly, respectfully, with honor, dignity, and integrity. And I promise you, you will prevail. I promise you that. You won't prevail in their courts, but your court is held on four corners of the frickin' paper. And I try to give you guys verbally exactly what's going on. For example, the DA is actively engaged in identity theft. Why? Because the Fourth Amendment ensures the protection of your unalienable right to be secure in your persons, papers, property, and effects. Ladies and gentlemen, that's huge. Your Sixth Amendment protects your unalienable right. The Sixth Amendment, not your Sixth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment for which they are bound by, restricted with, protects your unalienable right to face your accuser, cross-examine your accuser. Guess what? You can't see the state because the state's no more real than Kris Kringle, the Easter Bunny, the Tooth Fairy, Tinkerbell, period. Once you ascend to that level, there ain't no argument with cops anymore. Rogue agents and agency on the side of the fucking road, let them do what they will. Be calm, cool, collected. Put your hands on the fucking steering wheel. Don't get cocky with them. Two of the biggest mistakes people make on the side of the road with an agent, they make statements. Once you make a statement, you're fucked. There's only two statements I want to hear, and that is, you are receiving an income right now. You punched in a clock and you're on your 9 to 5. This is your job, correct? Yep. Okay. I just want to establish that you're getting paid. Yep. Okay. So there's no reason for you to be hostile towards me. There's no reason for you to be aggressive towards me, right? So once all that's done, And I've established that. Now comes the barrage of 50,000 fucking questions because I am now in an investigation. This is my investigation. Everybody's like, who enforces all this, Derrick? You do. You do. If you don't do it yourself, it ain't done right. I promise you that. You do it. How do you do it? By ascending of the mind and being able to ask very effective questions. So you can turn around and create your court and go, well, I asked if you had a delegation of authority to operate outside of Washington, D.C. You said no. Is that your final answer? Yes, it is. Great. License, registration, proof, and please hold on one second. We've already established there's no need to be hostile, and you obviously ain't got nothing better to do if you're stopping little old me. Without an affidavit, without a warrant, without an injured party, you ain't got nothing better to do. And now that you're with me, I'm going to take my sweet-ass time to investigate this matter, because this matter is a very serious matter, because it's not only a breach of my rights, it's a breach of everybody else's rights in America. If I let you get away with this shit today, if I let little Johnny steal a piece of bubble gum today, tomorrow he'll steal the whole bucket of gum. I'm not gonna allow that, right? Real simple thought process. That would be the same with HUD. What are you talking about? HUD? H-U-D, the Housing Authority, correct? Valerie? My phone is about to die, so I apologize. But I hope this is helping you guys out a little bit. It's really not that hard to assert yourself once you ascend to the mind. No man has a right to tell another man what to do. Absent a crime, and we all know what crimes are. Read the first 10 commandments. It tells you what a freaking crime is. Murder, rape, sodomy, theft. Those are all crimes, right? So if you haven't caused anybody any harm, then there's no reason that they should be inflicting harm upon you through title. Through title. I stripped the title. Fuck your title. Your title doesn't mean a fucking thing to me. You are a man. I need your name. You have accosted me against my will, absent a victim, absent a crime, and now you have caused me harm, and I need paid. Period. Because I'm not free and I'm not a slave. I'm not a U.S. citizen. I ain't going to stand for this shit. It's really simple. Really simple. Got a class on equity coming up this weekend on Saturday. Equity and trust law, which will give you great fundamental principles and foundation for what I speak of. I don't have any problems. I walk into a court, I talk all the time in the peanut gallery. You don't ever see anybody go, oh, we're going to throw you in contempt of court. Get him out of this courtroom. You don't see that crap because they know better than to do that with me. It's not going to fly. It's not going to work. So maybe tomorrow I'll release that video of my last court experience, which was really, really interesting. And there was actually an MVP deputy sheriff involved in that one. And I was impressed with his conduct. Very impressed with his conduct. But he knew he was in dangerous territory. He knew he was in hot water. He wasn't sure how much liability he held, but he damn sure wanted to mitigate that liability by making a couple quick statements to his superior to go talk to the judge and find out what they should probably do, which was beautiful on his part. He absolutely mitigated his personal liability on that. He made it so if I was going to bring an action against him, he wouldn't have been held liable at all. He did the right thing. He brought it to his superior's attention. Now his superior's on the hook. His superior has to go somewhere so he can dissolve liability. And he was only able to do that and have that frame of mind because the deputy sheriff saved his ass. Because the sheriff actually simple battery and assaulted, and it's actually an aggravated battery and assault because he was wearing a weapon at the time that he assaulted this woman, absent a crime in the middle of a courtroom. And it wasn't ordered, it was asked, would you take this woman out of the courtroom? Not, it is now ordered and here's the signed order, and I see how the judge even mitigated her liability in it. Because she's got plausible deniability. I asked him if he would. Just like the legislator says, well, you can do that. Just like I say, a 2-year-old toddler can put tweezers into a plug-in socket. Is it advisable? No. But you can. I mean, hell, you can go jump off a 10-story building, too. Nobody said it's intelligent. Nobody said you'll live, but you sure the hell can. Rational, logical thought process, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me. The only reason I made this video again was because the last one was all chopped up, so I took it down. Make sure to put everybody on notice. It's not that hard. It's very, very simple. Clyde McGill witnessed a black woman being told she was free to go a few minutes after she said she was there on special appearance. yeah, they do certain things. Not every courtroom's the same. Not all judges are the same. They're not judges. They're ministerial administrators, all right? And they're only administrating things that they have control over because we ourselves haven't come forward, taken over our minor accounts, done our name decree in the federal court with our will and testament, laying to rest with the death certificate, the estate, and coming forward as the true heirs and beneficiaries of the estate. And that's after the 1666 Sesta KV Act, which everybody says doesn't hold merit. I'm here to tell you it absolutely does. All right. If you guys want to do the UCC1 commercial stuff, I don't knock that either. There's many ways of skinning this cat. I just like to be in the exclusive jurisdiction of equity. That doesn't mean I can't shift gears like I'm running the quarter mile with a judge in the middle of a courtroom and go from equity back to commercial law. I've done it before. Even though Henry R. Gibson says it's impossible to commingle jurisdictions, you can jump from one to the other. You just can't commingle them, ladies and gentlemen. If you're going to be in commercial, then you be in commercial. If you're going to be in the exclusive jurisdiction of equity, it's best that you stay your happy ass in the exclusive jurisdiction of equity. But even better than that is what I've recently learned about holding your own court. It is so flippin' cool how much power you have when you learn how to hold your own court and use very, very, very simple vocabulary. Very simple. So with that, you guys have a wonderful, blessed morning. I'll see you a little bit later on. September 19th, I got a class coming up. If you want to join, scroll down my Facebook wall. You'll see the post. You'll see where you can click to make your donation. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. So stop putting fictitious plates on your automobile without letting without letting the DMV know what you have created for your private household consumer good that doesn't have to be registered, although it might be a good idea to record it. Where are you going to record it? The miscellaneous file. It's the public record, proof that it's yours. Proof that it's yours, right? Thanks for joining me. I don't have all the answers, but I sure appreciate your time. And again, remember, it's not a race thing at all, people. Get rid of that crap. That jargon in your head through the MSM and the news media, it's all there as propaganda to pull us apart instead of uniting. And really, the biggest grievance that could ever be placed on government is the grievance from the native people. Are you native? I'm native. I'm native to this land. I was born here. I was born on the land. On the land. I am native. Period. So are you. Most people are anyway. Anyway, thank you very much for your time. We'll talk to you soon. Have a beautiful, blessed morning, and I hope I wasn't too harsh.